Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mwalimu Kipepeo. My name is Jasmine Wambui, and I am delighted to be your host. I know it's been over a week since my last episode, but I am back as I try to restructure the podcast while improving and upgrading what we already have. I'd like to single out our new listeners who have recently joined our community. I have noticed a growth, and I am absolutely grateful that you have chosen to be part of this great journey. Just don't keep it to yourself. Tell a friend, tell a friend. Well, today is World Cancer Day. And on this episode, we focus on the recent developments Kenya has made in the fight against cancer. Stay put, because this will be an episode like no other. Enjoy! Welcome to this new month of love. Well, for me, I believe love should be celebrated every single day and not just on one day. That way, you keep the spark burning. Well, my Februaries have mostly been horrible, I must say. Not all of them, but most of them have. I have something that has happened as in most Februaries, and those things that have happened are not really good things. So for me, I don't know, I don't really put Valentine's Day as a very happy moment, because usually at that time there's always something happening that's not pleasing in my life. But I believe going forward, my Februaries will be amazing. They will be. So I have to say, when you speak something and it happens, it's because of what you've said. You have power over your tongue. So I think I will start saying that my Februaries will be something special, each as in from now on, So I'll tell you about my Februaries. I lost all my grandparents in the month of February on different days, of course. But today I will talk about my February 2016. I was currently doing my thesis, almost completing my master's degree. Then I lost both my maternal and paternal grandmothers on the same week. Actually, their memorials will be, it's actually the sixth year memorial will be next week. Cancer took them away from this world, and I always say that if we had known earlier and detected the cancer on time, they might both have survived for a very long time. Well, today I'd like to say that there is hope for us who are still alive, and there are ways we can have early detection of cancer. You see, during my Christmas break, I got to meet Professor Olive Mugenda, who is the chairperson of the board of directors at the Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital. We were at my cousin's graduation party, and she was a guest there. When her chance to give her speech came, she talked about the new developments in the hospital in regards to cancer screening, and I was wowed about how far we have come as a nation in the detection and screening of cancer. She spoke about the journey of acquiring 2 PET scan machines with the assistance of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Well, 3 weeks ago, the start of screening using the newly acquired PET scans began, and our story today is just snippets of how the launch took place and some discussions that are worth listening to on this World Cancer Day, where we close the care gap. So I told you earlier about Professor Olive Mugenda's intervention to get the PET scans for the hospital. Well, what happened is President Uhuru Kenyatta had gone to visit the hospital last year, and he had asked her what she thinks she would need to improve the facility. And she asked for PET scans. But I think this came from faith, because I don't think she just said it knowing that it would happen, but she talked about it because that's something she knew that she really needed to improve the facility. So she told the president that she would want PET scans, and he really didn't even know what that was. So he was like, what do you mean, PET scans? So he asked her to write it down And she did. And when she decided to escort him when he was now leaving, and they got to the car, and he was like, "What's that thing you said again? PET scans, yeah? You wrote it down for me. How much would that cost?" And she was like, "About 2 billion," because she had done some research on the machines and how they work. So she had a pretty rough idea of how much the machines would cost. So she said about 2 billion Kenya shillings. And it's like, well, okay, let's see how we'll work that out. And within 2 weeks, according to what she told us, the money was already wired into the institution's account. And she was able to now start working on purchasing the 2 PET scans that finally arrived late last year. So what we're going to listen to is her launching the 2 PET scans. And they are the first PET scans in a public hospital in Kenya. There's no public hospital that has a PET scan. The only PET scan available is also in Aga Khan Hospital, but it's a private hospital. And you'll hear the amount that will be required for you to actually get a scan at the Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital. And I can't say it's little. It's some amount that some people can actually afford. But you can actually get it at a particular price by the use of NHIF cards. Now, we'll get to that later. But if that's how much it costs at a public hospital, what about Aga Khan? It's a private hospital, it's a private institution. So this is the second time you're getting this in the country. However, Kenya is the only country in Eastern Africa that has the machines. The others are only available in South Africa and in North Africa. I think Egypt, thereabout. So this is a breakthrough that I think requires a lot of celebration. And on this day, 4th of February, I'd say that it's a milestone that we have reached as a country. And I am totally proud to be part of this Kenyan community that is witnessing this great intervention. So this is how the day went, and this is what Professor Olive Mugenda had to say on the launch of the PET scans.
The reason why the president and the minister and ourselves were very keen to have this is because we are going to have the cancers diagnosed early. In the US and other countries, the survival rate is 80%. In Kenya, it's about 30% or less. The reason is early diagnosis, and now we are able to save, or rather to address that issue with these machines. We will be charging 40,000. So if you have it approved by NHIF and you come here, you'll not be required to add. But for now, we will charge that and then work with the NHIF to see whether they can increase that amount for us. We have a hospitality center just on this side here. It's a 100-bed hotel, and we were anticipating that Kenyans who are going to come from far and also from the region, if they come a day earlier and maybe they want to stay a day later, they can also use these facilities here. So we took care of that also. Kenyans need to know that they don't have to wait until the cancer is stage 3 and 4 before they come. If they come early and they are scanned and the cancer is seen early, the chances of survival are very, very high. There's no reason now why any Kenyan should go outside the country for the PET scan services.
Dr. Victor Njom, who is the acting CEO of the Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital, told us about the difference of using the PET scans and what they used to use before. And this is what he had to say.
The main difference of PET scans and SPECT scans is we are able to look at the body at a cellular level, at a microscopic level, how the body cells are working. This is in contrast to the regular tests which we do like X-rays, CT scans, where you just take an image of the body and you produce an image. But with this new technology, we are able to look at the body, how it's functioning. We're able to be doing roughly 40 to 50 investigations per day. And therefore, with this, we hope that we'll clear up the backlog. We'll not have waiting times for Kenyans who are suspected to be having cancers.
Dr. Harish Nagraj, who is a nuclear medicine physician of the facility, took us through the procedure that a patient has to go through while taking the scan, after which they receive their results within 48 hours.
The patient, once they come, we do some pre-workups to make sure that they're stable. And once we get a referral from the oncologist, we inject the patient with something called as FTG. It gets concentrated in the cancerous cells in the body. So once the patient is injected, we give them around 55 minutes to 1 hour for the uptake time, what we call as an uptake time. And once the patient is waited for about 1 hour, they're good to go to the scan room. And we have a set protocol with our latest digital machine. It will not take much time for the scan. Usually the scan time is around 25 minutes. So by 25 minutes, the patient is out and we have what we want. So earlier what we had was more of conventional imaging, whereby we used to get 3D images of the body structures anatomically. And what PET does is it is giving a combination of both functional image as well as the CT part of it gives the anatomical correlation. So earlier we used to know whether there is some kind of lesion there in the body, but we didn't know whether it is still metabolically active, it's growing, or it is having some other impact. So with the advantage of both PET as well as CT, we'll get to know the metabolic activity of the particular tumor and also the exact location. So this is something which was not found in earlier conventional imaging. So this will be a big boost for the management of cancer and diagnosis.
So you've had, it is 40,000 Kenya shillings for NHIF card holders. Those who have cash will be required to pay 55,000 Kenya shillings. And those with private insurance cards will be required to pay 65,000. On February 4th in the year 2000, the World Summit Against Cancer for the New Millennium Charter of Paris was signed by the then President of France, Jacques Chirac, and the Director General of UNESCO, Koichiro Matsuura, initiating World Cancer Day, which is held on February 4th every year. Now you know. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like our Facebook page, Mwalimu Kipepeo, so you're notified when a new episode is posted. Please rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you are leaving having learned something new. I'm your host, Jasmine Wamboi. Until next time, take care and God bless.